Yes, sirree, Bob. Here we are, ladies and gentlemen. Rush Limbaugh, your guiding light. America's real anchorman, prepared here to anchor at the Limbaugh Institute for Advanced Conservative Studies. So I got this note from Cookie just mere moments ago. It says, everywhere I screened, meaning video, everywhere I screened this weekend, your name came up. Rush this, rush that. It didn't matter if it was a Democrat senator on a Sunday show or a Canadian debate about Russia or a nice C-SPAN book TV festival. You were everywhere. So I looked at the audio sound bites. Let me count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 of them. And one of them's even Vladimir Posner. Still living rent-free in Vladimir's head, which means I'm still living rent-free in Phil Donahue. Where is Phil Donahue, by this? Has anybody seen Phil Donahue? I don't know, just thought of that. Anyway, folks, it's April the 20th already. Yeah, man, it's like 420, man. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is my attempt to reach out to the millennials and the libertarians, 420 being the long-time code name for pot. Did you know that? You didn't know that. See, this is the reason I remain relevant and hip, even after more than 26 years behind a golden EIB microphone. 420, man. Yeah, dig it. They know what I'm talking about. They actually, and it makes me want to mention also that yesterday, April 19th, and what that was? Well, April 19th is Patriots Day. Now, I know it's Oklahoma City, but that's the 7th, so we got that. Clinton, he's not in the Rush soundbite list here at the first, but Clinton blamed me for that. We've got that soundbite. Yeah, but it's also Patriots Day. April 19th, the day of the shot heard around the world in Lexington and Concord, 240 years ago, which began the American Revolution. And this is something that you may not know or remember, but young people reading the Rush Revere time travel adventures with exceptional Americans, they know it because we have written about it. Anyway, glad you're here, folks. We've got a full week of broadcast excellence ready to unfold. I remain unchanged. I am still bored as I can be with Hillary Clinton being in the news, but it is what it is. We have to deal with it. Have you heard that CNN, excuse me, CNN, in order to salvage their plunging fortunes, CNN has announced they're going to hire 40 new reporters. And they claim that all of them are objective and unbiased and fair and so forth. And it's not a big deal, but I continue, a never-ending study of the drive-by media, who they are, how they perceive themselves, and thus what they think they need to do to reverse fortunes. And they clearly do. But that's not the answer. And I don't know how much money this has cost. 40 reporters ostensibly to gear up for the presidential race. What I want to know is how many of them are going to be assigned to Hillary. 40 new reporters, I'll bet you half of them are. Now, this is nothing new, but it's just silly. It's absurd. Obama has said it again. Let's take a look at what's going on. We have ISIS murdering 30 at least Ethiopian Christians, 15 by drowning, 15 by beheading. The FBI announced just this morning in Minneapolis that we're on the verge of a plague in this country of domestic Americans seeking to join ISIS because there's something romantic about it. There's something exciting about it. Their lives apparently are so empty that they're looking for excitement. They want to join ISIS. And the FBI made a major announcement in Minneapolis this morning detailing this and portraying just what a potentially huge problem it is. Because if they are in this country, American citizens obviously are here. And if they're showing sympathy toward ISIS and wanting to join, at some point, somebody at ISIS is going to figure out they do not have to leave America to join ISIS, and they do not have to leave America to perform various ISIS tactics. It is an imminent threat, and it's growing. Iran is on the verge of getting a nuclear weapon. By the way, all of last week, I refrained commenting on the bill in the Senate, the HellerMenndez Bill. You know, the Senate ostensibly is arguing over whether or not they have a role in approving whatever deal Obama comes up with vis-a-vis Iran. Constitutionally, the president simply cannot do what he's doing with Iran without ratification of the United States Senate. But the Constitution has long since ceased to matter. Whenever Obama really wants something and the Constitution is in his way. And so a lot of people have been looking at the HellerMenndez Bill, and it's been portrayed as the Senate finally standing up and strutting its stuff and demanding its role and asserting via this legislation that it will act and Obama will not be able to unilaterally strike any deal with Iran without them. And there have been all kinds of different people and pundits and experts analyzing the HellerMenndez Bill. And I was never comfortable last week weighing in on it because I didn't think that what everybody was saying, it's just my instincts. I didn't get the impression that the people commenting on it were actually up to speed, or they were getting it all. And it turns out that following my instincts was the right thing to do. I have since spent some time over the weekend looking into it, and it's a joke. Now, that was known last week. Don't misunderstand. It was a joke. It was the reason why it was going to be a joke, or is a joke, that was up for debate, and everybody had their own theory. But it's essentially worthless and meaningless. But I'll get to that in just a second. The point is, you got Iran on the verge of a nuclear weapon. ISIS on the march, beheading and killing Christians everywhere. We had how many people drowned in the Mediterranean? 300 trying to get out of Libya. There is mass murder. There is death. There is mayhem. There is torture. There is slavery. The human condition is in great peril all over the world. And here he comes again, Barack Hussein, the president of the United States, on Saturday saying that climate change poses the world's biggest threat. It's just silly. It's not even worth a factual discussion. We've done that for 25 years. It's just silly. Today, there's no greater threat to our planet than climate change, Obama said in his weekly radio address. And, of course, it was to tie in with Earth Day, which is Wednesday. So it's not Iran getting the bomb. It's not ISIS taking over the Middle East. It's not ISIS growing homegrown members in the United States. It's not the Middle East in general burning up and on fire. It's not any of that. No. And even though there hasn't been any increase in the world's temperature for 18 years. And even if it were to happen, even if the global warming that is predicted by these baseless computer models, even if it were to happen, exactly as the models say, it's not the end of anything. It does not destroy the world. It does not destroy anything. It's one of the biggest scams that has ever been perpetrated on the people of the world. Even if every prediction they're making about temperature rise, now they're making specific predictions about drought and flood, all that stuff, that's a crock. If temperatures have risen and fallen throughout the history of the universe, climate temperature, global, and the Earth is still here, and the population has grown exponentially during all of these fluctuations in temperature. The idea, global warming is nothing other than computer models. There is, even today, there's no evidence of it. And this is what really, about all of this, astounds me more than anything, is all these young people, supposedly educated. You can excuse the low information crowd on virtually anything. I mean, by definition, they're ignorant. You would expect it. But people who have been educated, whatever that means in America today, there is no evidence of global warming. It's nothing more than a project that is rooted in computer models. And computer models that are making projections of 50 years and 100 years out. I mean, not one kernel of factual evidence that anybody can point to and say, see, the models are right. There is no certitude. There is no consensus. Science isn't a consensus. And in the midst of all this, here comes Obama with all of this surrounding us, claiming that there's no greater threat to the planet than climate change. Okay, so the question, once again, must be asked, why? He said that climate change can no longer be denied, can no longer be ignored. I'll tell you why. Climate change is one of the most front and center opportunities that statists and totalitarians have at their disposal for quelling the freedom of individual people the world over by blaming everybody for it. That's why it's so exciting. That's why to people like Obama and the United Nations and everybody else, the whole idea that there is climate change and that it's destructive. And I look, even if the 2 degrees Celsius rise, even if that were to happen over the next 50 years, it isn't catastrophic. There'd actually be a lot of good that would come from it in various parts of the world. But it's not happening. At least scientifically, it can't be proven. Yet here it is. It's the greatest threat of all the threats out there. It poses the single greatest threat to you, your family, your neighborhood, your town, your city, than anything else happens. It's absurd. It's just the latest, and actually it's not late. It's been since the 1980s. It's just the ongoing liberal effort, like healthcare was, to attempt to wrest and exert as much control over individuals as possible. And that's why people like Obama and others of his ilk salivate. At the same time, the idea of a nuclear Iran is a yawner. In fact, it's not even that. The idea of a nuclear Iran is something that we should not fear. In fact, we should support it. Because we're supposed to trust Obama, that he knows what he's doing.